All right, good evening, kids. Tonight we're going to be working with chance events. You've probably seen these words that we're going to be working with here today. They're pretty basic, it's pretty easy, but we're going to be working a little bit with fractions and percents and decimals. Once again, it's kind of review from what you've been working on in the past. We're refreshing your memories so we can get moving along right here in 5th grade math. This is what chance events are. Actually, before we get going there, let's work with some changing decimals to percents. Okay. First one right here, and I want you to use some scratch paper. I want to see if you can do it. Half. How can we change that into a decimal? How can we change that into a percent? I want you to kind of brainstorm. Half. How are we going to put that? What I've always told kids in the past, you always want to change a fraction into something with a 10, something with 100, something with 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, because when you're reading a decimal, when a decimal is read, this is what it looks like, right? We have this equals 1/10. This equals 100. This equals 2/10. This equals 2/100. Okay. Because once we have 10, we can know we can put it out of 100, because 100% is the highest we can go, right, when you're dealing with percentages. All of you, if you get 100% on your math test, that means you get every single problem correct. So when we're taking a look at these problems here, what would 1/10 be as a percent? We have to change it into 100. Remember, equivalent fractions times 10 times 10. 10 over 100 means 10%. Right here, we already have it over 100, so this means 1%. Got to put it over 100. Kind of showing you some examples here, kids. This means 20%. 2%. It's already out of 100. So I'm going to take you back to this page here. Put a full screen up so we know what's going on. Half, we have to change this into something with a 10. So this becomes times 5 equals 5/10. Now we're going to change this into 100. Times 10 times 10. Now we have 50 over 100. We know what that means. We know that's 50%, right? Because it's already out of 100. And we can go back to this part right here. I'm going to change my colors just to help you out so I don't make you feel like you're all over the place. 5/10 looks just like this. If I ask you to read that, you're not going to read it as 0.5. You're going to read it as 5/10 because the 5 is in the tenths place. Here's another one. We're going to be working a lot with these, so if it doesn't make sense right away, that's okay, but I really want you to kind of focus in on it because you're going to see a lot of problems like this. 1/4. Remember, I have to change it into something with a 10, 100, or 1,000. 4 can't go into 10. So the next best I'm going to go is into 100. 4 times what number equals 100? I always deal with quarters and money is always fun to count, and all of you have dealt with money before. 4 times 25, 4 quarters equals $1, right? So 4 times 25. 1 times 25 equals 25 over 100. Well, with that being said, we already have the 100 here, so this means 25%. It's that easy, kids. 25 over 100, so we're in the hundredths place. This would be 0.25. Now, if I wanted to change, I'm going to go back up to this. If I wanted to change 50 over 100 into a decimal, it'd just be 50 hundredths, which would be the same thing as 5/10, right? Just kind of keep that in mind. Doesn't matter. We can keep on adding zeros. It's going to be the same number. Keep going here. 3/4. Once again, 4 cannot go into 10. So we're going to put it into 100. From here, we know it's times 25 times 25. 3 times 25. If you don't know the mental math, just think money. 3/4 equals 75 cents. 0.75. And we have 75%. 4/10. I want you to go ahead and press pause, try and figure this one out, okay? All right, we're going to keep on going. This is 0.4, because that's how you read 4/10, 4/10. But if I want to make this out of 100, 4/10 times 100 shouldn't say times, I'm sorry, equals 100 times 10 times 10, got a 40, 40%. Last one. We won't do that one after that. Last one here. 17 over 100. Well, that's easy. It's already out of 100. 17. 17%. Remember, it always has to be, when you're dealing with these decimals and percents, it always has to be out of 100. Let's keep on moving on to what today's lesson's about here. Okay. Here's some words you're going to be dealing with today. The words certain, impossible, extremely likely, extremely unlikely, very unlikely, 50-50 chance, and unlikely, okay? Some of you are probably wondering, extremely likely to very likely, what is the difference? I mean, they're close, okay? There's a scale, okay? There's a scale you're going to be looking at here today, and it looks just like this. Everyone will have this scale when you come to school. If you're certain something's going to happen, it's going to happen 100% of the time, okay? So I can't say I'm certain we're going to win the volleyball game tonight because there's a chance we could lose. I would like to think that would be certain, okay? But my volleyball team hasn't lost yet, so it's probably going to be maybe a little higher than a 50-50 chance, right? But there's always a chance that we could lose because you're either going to win or you're going to lose, right? So it's a 50-50 chance, okay? So keep that in mind. There's some examples here. So then the very next thing after certain, if you're not completely, because you can't say you're certain you're going to have pizza tonight, but let's say on Thursday nights, you're used to having pizza. It's your pizza night. So you're probably like, extremely likely you're going to have pizza or very likely you're going to have pizza. I'm not going to be too picky with these as long as they're close enough, okay? But if you're certain you're not going to have any homework tomorrow, that's kind of tough because you're not sure if you're going to have homework or not, right? So you can't be certain there. We're going to kind of look at some examples here. Birth records, 51% are boys, 49% are girls. Well, that's very possible, right? Because when a baby's born, it's going to either be a male or a female. That's going to be probably closer to the 50% chance place right here. Would you agree? If you're flipping a coin, it's either heads or it's going to be tails. There's not a third option in there. Right here we have a house fire, as dramatic as that sounds. There's about a 1% chance of a person's house catching on fire during the next year. So if someone asks, is your house going to catch on fire this year? You're probably going to say that's extremely unlikely. You're not going to say it's impossible because obviously everything can kind of burn, right? So we're not going to say it's impossible. But then it asks, what is the chance of not having a house fire? Well, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to have a house fire this year. And that'd be all the way back up here at the top, okay? Let's take a look at what we have for another example here. Swimming. There's about 2/3 chance that an adult knows how to swim, okay? Luckily, I know how to swim, but there's plenty of adults out there that didn't have swimming lessons, so they don't know how to swim. So what percentage of adults probably do not know how to swim? So that'd be 1/3 don't know how to swim because 2/3 can. So if I'm looking here, 1/3, you see how on the right side we have fractions, 1/3, so your answer would be unlikely. The scale should help you out a little bit tomorrow when you're working on your assignment. Just kind of use it. Just remember, certain's at the top, impossible's at the bottom, okay? So keep those things in mind. Tomorrow we might do a little bit of an experiment with flipping a coin, heads and tails. I know your assignment says flipping a tack. We're not going to be flipping any tacks in school. I've seen some accidents with that before, so we're just going to be careful with that. But yeah, one thing to think about too is the weather. Every single day you look at the weather and it says maybe like a 30% chance of rain. Well, if it says it's a 30% chance of rain, let's take a look at our scale. What do you think that means on our scale? 30% chance of rain means it's unlikely that it's going to rain. In the summertime, I don't know how many of you watch the news, but it says most days it says 30% chance, especially if it starts getting really hot. It says there's a 25% chance of a thunderstorm. Well, now we're getting in this area, right, of unlikely and very unlikely. But chance events, That's your vocab for it. You can always take a look at that scale to help you out. Pretty basic lesson here today. So can't wait to see you in school tomorrow.